I believe this is one of your rings. To whom did you sell it?
It is one of our recent masterpieces, charmingly dubbed the nest egg. How did you come by it?
Let's say I found it.
Then I will generously assume that the customer lost it. If you give it to me, I'll return it.
There might be a reward.
There might be a lengthy prison sentence. Shall I call my beadle?
If you believe you can wake him, I assure you I'll return it to its rightful owner. I presume these rings are merely representative of your collection. Might I see more?
Are you truly interested, or are you merely passing the time?
More interested than you could possibly imagine.
Very well. I'll retrieve some of our more attractive items from the strong room. You are a knave, sir.
And you'd be in a position to know. Occupy the sentinel, will you, Watson? I have suspicions to confirm.
Confirm to your heart's content. This old soldier is going nowhere.
Ah, the nest egg. Here it is, Watson. Curiouser and curiouser.
I'm feeling a bit like the Mad Hatter, Holmes. What do you mean?
The ring's intended recipient and the person who paid for it are one and the same. It seems Lady Cordelia had to supply the funds for her own engagement ring.
Very interesting.
I'm sure Lord Lawton didn't find it, sir. Are you familiar with the American slang expression, to put on ice?
It has to do with diamonds, doesn't it? Like gilding a lily, most unattractive.
Wrong cliché, Doctor. It is a metaphor for incarceration, to render something or someone ineffective.
I take your point, Holmes, and wish you well.
Fat lot of good you can do now. You might as well shout "Open Sesame" 40 times. Only the owner has the key.
Where is the ring lately purchased by and for your fiancée?
I will not redeem whatever scurrilous information you have extracted from her jeweller, Mr. Holmes.
Would it surprise you to learn that I found the ring in the possession of a deceased prostitute? I'm sure it would surprise Lady Lockridge.
Are you a blackmailer as well as a busybody? What compels you to harass me in this nefarious manner?
The truth compels me. Tell it, and I may set you free.
Ha! Your precious truth means ruination. Will you return the ring?
I don't think now would be a good time. This ring is part of an evidentiary chain linking numerous crimes. How did it come to be in her possession?
I'm sure I don't know. It must have been stolen from this room.
Is there nothing further you wish to tell me? I advise you to be candid.
Please go. You've made yourselves quite enough of a nuisance.
You're traveling down a very long road, Lawton. Needless to say, you will regret your decision. I'll make it my business.
Your manners are abominable. Jenkins, I believe Mr. Holmes is leaving.
These vases are superb. They're hung wu, aren't they?
Hung-hu? No, they're Chinese. My husband bought them for his umbrella. Very convenient, although they're quite old.
Lady Fanshawe, might you venture a guess as to where your husband is?
I guess he's out, unless he's in, of course. This is a large house. I don't see him for days at a time. What difference does it make? I'm inventing an exciting colour scheme for the library. Would you like to see it?
Perhaps another day, thank you. Watson, please give me your sense of Lady Fanshawe.
She is what I believe the Americans call dizzy.
Well said, whatever it means.
It means confused, flighty, and credulous in the extreme.
That suggests a line of attack. Lady Fanshawe, I must speak with Pettigrew to make delivery arrangements.
You are from that art gallery. I knew it. Oh, I so love a surprise.
This will be a rather large one.
What is it? What is it? Oh, Avery, such a dear. I won't tell him you told.
I mustn't, Lady Fanshawe. I've said too much already. The sooner I speak to Pettigrew, the sooner I can deliver.
Pettigrew! Come this instant. Au revoir, gentlemen. I won't say goodbye. Pettigrew!
Do you remember us, Pettigrew?
Try as I might to forget, Mr. Holmes, I do.
Your manners were perhaps lost in the effort. Never mind. Let's avoid a bad start. Is Sir Avery available?
No. Lucky man is rarely about when Lady Fanshawe is, and she's always here.
Where does Sir Avery spend his time? Away from the ministry?
I don't know. If that's all, you may leave a card if you wish.
My business is urgent, Pettigrew. One of his colleagues has died horribly.
Death seems to follow you about, Mr. Holmes. A combination of occupational hazard and bad luck, I imagine.
Have your joke, Pettigrew. I'm not the one wearing the clown suit. Please don't allow personal enmity to color your judgment. I need your help.
Helping you, Mr. Holmes, rarely helps me. Have you noticed?
I purposefully kept your name from the Bromwell debacle. I don't say you were an accomplice, but Lestrade believed you had guilty knowledge of your employer's scheme. Do not repay me with animosity. You owe me none.
The sting of Lord Bramwell's demise is still fresh, I apologize. When Sir Avery is not at what he calls his work, he can usually be found snoozing at the Diogenes Club or feeding the birds in St. James Park.
Sir Avery is very old to be out alone. Is his attendant called Hodgkins?
Hodgkins is Sir Avery's body servant. Very intimidating party, very dear to the old gentleman. And the feeling is mutual.
Of course. I recall him now. The scourge of the Crimea.
The same. Still wears his campaign badges and hat. Honours and protects them like his patron. Recently disassembled a man in the Aldersgate Underground for having the temerity to ask Sir Avery the time of day.
A cautionary tale, thank you. Is Lady Fanshawe likely to know Sir Avery's whereabouts?
Milady knows very little about anything. In between bouts of redecorating, she entertains the beau monde and makes unreasonable demands on the staff.
But perhaps she pays well?
In truth, she is mean and bloody-minded, and I'm this close to giving notice. Was there something you wanted beyond below stairs, gossip?
Have you spoken with Sir Avery Fanshawe recently?
Oh, not in 20 years. He's across the way now at his usual spot. Old fool thinks I ridiculed him. I told him his mixture was too rich for songbirds. Took it as a personal affront. He attracts only pigeons and blames me for it.
There's no reasoning with a man whose passion is thwarted.
Is that the voice of sadder but wiser experience, Watson? Never mind. You're spot on, and it gives me an idea. Let's feed the birds.
Your efforts are angering the old boy.
Might I have a word with Sir Avery?
If you're tired of this life, you can try. Be a good lad and push off.
I'll only take a moment.
If you don't want it to be your last, don't linger. Move on now.
They make an unusual pair, do they not, Watson?
If the Queen's retainers are as vigilant as Mr. Hodgkins, she is well served. A poet could describe their relationship better than a policeman.
You recognize something in yourself, Doctor. Devotion to a chosen duty.
Thank you, Holmes.
As advertised, Hodgkins is a menacing brute, and Sir Avery was oblivious.
I hope recent demands have not exhausted your imagination and left us bereft of the means for dealing with him short of force.
Efforts to overpower him would be futile, Watson, but I'm not prepared for failure. I need to capture Sir Avery's interest another way. Your dedication to Sir Avery does you credit, but I have official business to discuss.
I'll say this once, slowly. Leave now, and nobody gets hurt. Stay and you're for the water or worse. Get away from here now!
What civil servant or city man wouldn't prefer these surroundings to his office?
None with a modicum of sense and the intelligence to use it.
I believe Hodgkins has the wherewithal to deliver on his threats.
Agreed. And I have no desire to test a contrary hypothesis. You'll have to fabricate a more subtle approach to Sir Avery.
Perhaps I can distract Hodgkins by dividing his devotion in disparate directions.
Sometimes your speech is perfectly opaque, Holmes. I hope your thought is less murky.
Remember what Pettigrew said about the campaign cap? With assistance from more nimble fingers, I might borrow it. Does Fred take instruction, Birdie?
If you mean will he do on command what he does by nature, the answer is sometimes.
I need to talk to Sir Avery. Might Fred create a diversion to occupy Hodgkins?
Not a problem.
Brilliant. I'm told the old warhorse is very fond of his campaign cap. Might Fred lift it and take him on a romp through the park?
Perfect. But he's only part of your problem. His absence is no guarantee that Fanshawe will talk. He's attuned to birds, not people.
Sir Avery, my name is Holmes. My brother is Mycroft.
Your family connections do not interest me, young man. How are you drawing those lovely birds? What are you feeding them?
My personal mixture.
Probably infused with some irresistible avian narcotic. Where might a fellow get some?
Mycroft was injured in the incident that levelled the Diogenes Club.
You're Holmes' brother, are you? Why didn't you say so? Heard he'll recover. Explosions are damned nuisance. Where's a fella supposed to get his grub?
I have some questions about the termination of the investigation into the stolen formula.
Blasted committee hearings, insufferably boring. Stolen formula, my Aunt Fanny. Things disappear from that room all the time, and reappear. Even if it was stolen, who cares? Talk of technical advantages, militarist nonsense. I've learned that much in my life. People don't matter. Committee is useless. I'm an old man. I don't have unlimited time. Cuts into my park visits.
Is that why you voted to terminate the investigation?
And what if it was? These birds depend on me, and me on them, I suppose. I've seen these special hearings come to nothing 100 times.
You could be wrong this once. Would it surprise you to learn that Thomas Pratt has been murdered?
Among the defects of old age is that one loses the capacity to be surprised. Do you know why he was killed?
I believe he was materially involved in the formula's disappearance.
Really? You could be right, I suppose. Might have taken it. I'm sorry for him. He was a closed book. Sort of a chap with secrets. He lost his family young, lost his friends later, and now he's lost his life. And for what? Perhaps I've lived too long, Mr. Holmes. The world has grown strange and hard and passed me by.
Do you recall who initiated the demand to terminate the investigation?
Silverbridge, I think, or Lawton. I just joined the pro group and saw no evidence for theft. Holmes' nose was out of joint over the decision, very upset. I'd stand him to a large brandy at the club, smooth things over. If there was a club.
Sir Avery, where might I find the reading room charm, Mrs. Ratchet?
Why bother her?
Just tying up some loose ends.
Wonderful woman, reliable, pleasant, been in the ministry forever. A little pink, I'm told, as if that mattered. She lives just east of Spitalfield Market. Don't know the address, appalling place. Hodgkins and I saw her home one night. Most distressing. If you find her, she's likely to be closed-mouthed. You might use my name.
I wish Mycroft had annotated his summary. I don't believe Fanshawe is involved.
That's a guess, surely. Mycroft suspected all committee members.
No, I don't believe he ever thought all members were materially involved. He implied they must all be suspects until they could be eliminated from suspicion. By observation, I have eliminated Fanshawe. He has mostly retreated to a world of his own devising, and is incurious about any other. It is not an unattractive world.
Remember your Plato. Socrates says the unexamined life is not worth living.
Plato was a younger, less experienced man than Sir Avery, as was Socrates for that matter, and neither of them knew Lady Fanshawe.